For more than a decade, a quiet stretch of beach on Long Island hid one of America's most disturbing mysteries. Bodies were discovered along the remote shoreline. The victims seemed connected, but the killer remained invisible. Then, years later, a seemingly ordinary architect was finally identified. The Long Island serial killer case had entered a new and shocking chapter. The story began with the disappearance of several young women, many of whom had worked as escorts. In July 2009, 24-year-old Melissa Barthelemy disappeared after traveling to meet a client. Her family later received a series of disturbing phone calls from a man who used her phone. In 2010, 3 more women vanished. 27-year-old Amber Lynn Costello, 22-year-old Megan Waterman, and 25-year-old Maureen Brainard Barnes. At first, their disappearances appeared to be separate cases. Then came a discovery that changed everything. In December 2010, police were searching near Oak Beach for Shannon Gilbert, a young woman who had disappeared months earlier. During the search, a police dog discovered human remains near Gilgo Beach. Investigators continued searching the area and found the remains of 4 women: Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Maureen Brainard Barnes. They became known as the Gilgo Four. In the months that followed, more remains were discovered in other locations along Long Island. The discoveries included Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, Karen Vergata, and other victims whose cases added to the mystery surrounding the area. Another victim, Sandra Costilla, had been killed years earlier in 1993. For years, investigators struggled to identify the person responsible. The case became one of the most famous unsolved serial murder investigations in the United States. There were public disputes, changes in leadership, and criticism of how the investigation had been handled. But the investigation changed dramatically after a new task force was formed in 2022. Detectives began re-examining old evidence and comparing information that had not previously been fully connected. One important clue involved a witness who had described a distinctive green Chevrolet Avalanche connected to Amber Costello's disappearance. Investigators also focused on cell phone records and burner phones used to contact victims. The evidence eventually led them to Rex Heuermann, a Manhattan architect who lived in Massapequa Park, Long Island. Investigators found that Heuermann's movements and cell phone activity were consistent with key periods in the investigation. Authorities also examined online activity and digital evidence connected to the case. Then came a major breakthrough involving DNA. Investigators recovered items discarded by Heuermann, including a pizza crust. DNA obtained from that evidence was compared with genetic material connected to the victims. Prosecutors said the results strongly linked Heuermann to the murders. On July 13, 2023, Rex Heuermann was arrested outside his office in Manhattan. At first, he was charged with the murders of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The investigation continued, and additional evidence led to further charges involving Maureen Brainard Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, and Sandra Costilla. The case had finally moved from an unsolved mystery to a major criminal prosecution. Then, in April 2026, the case took another dramatic turn. Heuermann pleaded guilty to the murders of 7 women and, during his court statement, also admitted to killing Karen Vergata. The victims he admitted killing were Sandra Costilla, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Maureen Brainard Barnes, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Karen Vergata. The killings stretched across nearly 2 decades, from 1993 to 2010. In June 2026, Heuermann was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentence included 3 consecutive life terms and additional consecutive prison sentences. His guilty plea and sentencing brought legal resolution to 8 killings connected to one of the longest-running murder investigations in modern New York history. But questions still remain. The discovery of human remains across Long Island involved more victims than those included in Heuermann's convictions and admissions. The broader investigation has continued to raise questions about whether every case connected to the discoveries has been fully explained. The Long Island serial killer case is a reminder that some investigations take years, sometimes decades, to solve. In this case, old witness information, cell phone records, DNA technology, and a renewed investigation eventually helped uncover the identity of a man who had remained hidden in plain sight. But for the families of the victims, the passage of time can never erase the loss. 8 women now have a confirmed killer. Yet the larger story of the Long Island discoveries still leaves questions behind. Do you believe every mystery connected to the Gilgo Beach discoveries has finally been solved, or do you think there is still more to uncover? Let us know your opinion in the comments.